Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
This weather in New York City, we're going to see another scorcher today. I do want to inform you again, cooling centers and pools are open. The 5 boroughs will see another scorcher ahead. They're going to be filled with humidity and heat as the day go on. The heat and the humidity unfortunately gets worse. But luckily there are some free ways to stay safe and to stay cool. So no need to open a fire hydrant. The city pools are now all open. Their hours will start from 11 and they stay open all the way through 7 p.m. with a 1-hour break at 3 p.m. just for cleaning. So the city park run pools are free to get in, and the cooling centers again are open. So if you just need to get inside somewhere to cool down, the city will also have over 200 cooling centers open across the boroughs today at schools, community centers, and senior centers. They are offered air-conditioned rooms for people if they just need to get out of the heat just for a little while. So they do recommend that you call ahead to make sure that there's space and they're open because the hours are different for each of the cooling centers. For more information, call 311 and they'll help you. And next in New York City, we're going to move 8,000 homeless people from hotels to crowded shelters. That's ending the COVID-19 prevention program. But is this good or bad? New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio plans to move about 8,000 homeless people out of the hotel rooms where they have been staying during the pandemic and back to shelters. So the timing of the move is uncertain, but the administration plans to complete it by the end of July. The campaign will disrupt the lives and threaten the health of homeless people to make hotel rooms available for the tourists, as de Blasio declares that this is going to be the summer of New York City. Yet, city, state, and national politicians are prematurely proclaiming that the end of the pandemic and removing all impediments to the generation of profit. New York Governor Cuomo, a Democrat like de Blasio, ended almost all restrictions related to the pandemic on June 15th. Capacity limits, social distancing, and information for contact tracing are now optional for offices, retail stores, and other businesses. But shelters themselves are merely required to have residents wear masks. It is time to move homeless folks who were in hotels for a temporary period of time back to shelters where they can get the support that they need, said de Blasio. And what else is going on? But he also mentioned that many homeless people have continued to receive support at the hotels and do not want to return to shelters. Moreover, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, they offered to pay for the hotel rooms until the end of September. I don't want to go back. It's like I'm going backward. And that was from Andrew Ward. Andrew Ward moved from a shelter to the Williams Hotel in Brooklyn. It's not safe to go back there. You've got people bringing in knives and other things. I know that even people steal, there's fighting, but before the pandemic arrived in New York, the shelters were notoriously overcrowded. In some shelters, as many as 60 people stayed in one room. That's a lot. The crisis of homelessness in New York City is a product of capitalism, which itself an historic crisis. Homelessness cannot be addressed in a humane or meaningful way by either of the capitalist parties, which uphold the interests of finance capital and subordinate all other considerations to private profit. That's a tough one right there. But next we have Trump lawyers tried to head off indictment. The lawyers for the Trump Organization met again Monday with prosecutors in the Manhattan District Attorney Office in the last bid to forestall a potential indictment stemming from a long-running investigation into the former president's company. So the Trump Organization's lawyer, Ron Fischetti, said that the meeting came as a grand jury nears a vote on an indictment this week, following a more than 2-year investigation into Trump's business affairs. He stated that prosecutors have told him Trump himself will not be charged at this time, and at least not with what's coming down the week, but added the investigation is continuing. There's no indictment coming down this week against the former president, Fischetti said in a telephone statement on Monday. But I can't say he's out of the woods yet completely. And that was another person who's familiar with the investigation, confirmed that they were communications between defense lawyers and prosecutors on Monday. The person declined to give any details of the talks. Such final exchanges are considered formalities that rarely change the course of an investigation in a late stage, suggesting that the grand jury is near a vote. The person was not authorized to discuss the case and spoke to the news on condition of anonymity. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office declined comment. But in addition to fringe benefits, prosecutors have looked into whether the Trump organization lied about the value of real estate holdings to lower taxes or to obtain back loans or insurance policies on favorable terms. They have also looked into the company's role in paying hush money to two women who say Trump had affairs with them, accusations Trump has denied. And that's Trump news. But next we have the race ends dry. The run for a ranked choice count may hint at how New York City mayors and how New Yorkers will get one step closer on Tuesday to learning who their next mayor is likely to be. Because an initial count of ballots showed that none of the Democratic candidates got more than 50% of the first choice votes cast by those who voted in person last Tuesday or during the early voting period. The city's new ranked choice system has kicked in. Voters could rank up to 5 candidates in the mayor's race, and the Democratic nominee, who is almost certain to be the next mayor, will now be decided through a process of elimination that begins on Tuesday. The city's boards of elections is set to reveal the first preliminary round of ranked choice results, which will give a fuller, if still incomplete, picture of how the vote totals are shaken out. Eric Adams, the Brooklyn borough's president, led Maya Wiley, a former counsel to Mayor de Blasio, by 9.4 percentage points after the first choice votes were counted. And he was ahead of Catherine Garcia, a former city sanitation commissioner, by about 12 percentage points. A winner would not be certified on Tuesday, in part because tens of thousands of absentee ballots would not be included in the preliminary tally. It is also difficult, but mathematically possible, for either Ms. Wiley or Ms. Garcia to catch up with Mr. Adams. The elimination rounds work like this. The candidate with the least first choice votes is eliminated. Those votes are then reallocated to the candidates whom his or her voters rank second. The candidate in the last place after that reallocation is then eliminated with their votes, 2 second choices, and so on until 2 candidates remain. The one with the most votes is the winner, and that's how we're going to find out who our next mayor is. But in Florida, the sad news collapse searches stretches to day 6. The slow work of sifting through the remnants of a collapsed Florida condo building stretched into a 6th day, Tuesday, as families desperate for progress endured a wrenching wait for answers. They are learning that some of their loved ones will come out as body parts. This is the kind of information that is just excruciating for everyone. The work has been deliberate and treacherous. Just 2 additional bodies were found on Monday, raising the count of confirmed dead to 11. That leaves 150 people still unaccounted for in the community of Surfside, just outside of Miami. Authorities are meeting frequently with families to explain what they're doing and answer questions. They have discussed with the families everything from how DNA matches are made up to help identify the dead, to how will next of the kin be contacted, to going into extreme detail about how they are searching the mound, the mayor stated. Authorities said that it's still a search and rescue operation, but no one has been found alive since hours after the collapse on Thursday. The pancake collapse of the building left layer upon layer of intertwined debris, frustrating efforts to reach anyone who may have survived in a pocket of space. Every time there's an action, there's a reaction, Miami-Dade Assistant Fire Chief Ray Jadala said during a news conference on Monday. But it's not an issue of we could just attach a couple of cords to a concrete boulder and lift it and call it a day. Some of the concrete pieces are smaller, the size of basketballs or baseballs. From outside a neighboring building on Monday, more than 24 family members watched teams of searchers excavate the building site. Some held on to each other for support, others hugged and they prayed. Some people took photos, and authorities insisted that they are not losing hope. The building collapsed just days before a deadline for condo owners to start making steep payments towards more than $9 million in repairs that had been recommended nearly 3 years earlier, in a report that warned of major structural damage. There's a lot more to this story than they want to admit, but I'm sure we'll find out in the future. Judge dismisses government antitrust lawsuits against Facebook. A federal judge on Monday dismissed antitrust lawsuits brought against Facebook by the Federal Trade Commission and a coalition of state attorneys general, dealing a significant blow to attempts by regulators to rein in tech giants. The U.S. District Judge James Bosag ruled Monday that the lawsuits were legally insufficient and didn't provide enough evidence to prove that Facebook was a monopoly. The ruling dismisses the complaint but not the case, meaning the FTC could refile another complaint. These allegations, which do not even provide an estimate, actual figure, or range for Facebook's market share at any point over the past 10 years, ultimately fall short on plausibly establishing that Facebook holds market power, he said. The FTC said in a statement that it is closely reviewing the opinion and assessing the best option forward. The agency has 30 days in which to file a new complaint, but the U.S. government and 48 states and districts sued Facebook in December 2020, accusing the tech giant of abusing its market power in social networking to crush smaller competitors and seeking remedies that could include a forced spinoff of the social network's Instagram and WhatsApp messaging services. The FTC had alleged Facebook engaged in a systematic strategy to eliminate its competition, including by purchasing smaller up-and-coming rivals like Instagram in 2012 and WhatsApp in 2014. New York Attorney General Letitia James said when filing the suit that Facebook used its monopoly power to crush smaller rivals and snuff out competition, all at the expense of everyday users. Facebook, in an email statement, said, "We are pleased that today's decision recognized the defects in the government complaints filed against Facebook. We compete fairly every day to earn people's time and attention and will continue to deliver great products for the people and businesses that use our services." There's always something. But next, the Amish put faith in God's will and herd immunity over the vaccine. So when healthcare leaders in the heart of Pennsylvania, Dutch County, began laying out a strategy to distribute COVID-19 vaccines, they knew that it would be a tough sell with the Amish, who tend to be wary of preventative shots and the government's intervention. Early on, they posted flyers at farm supply stores and at auctions where the Amish sell handmade furniture and quilts. They sought advice from members of the deeply religious and conservative sect, who told them not to be pushy, and they asked 3 newspapers widely read by the Amish to publish ads promoting the vaccine. 2 refused. Good, I'm glad they did. By May, 2 rural vaccination clinics had opened at a fire station and social services center, both familiar places to the Amish in Lancaster County. During the first 6 weeks, 400 people showed up. Only 12 were Amish, while their religious beliefs don't forbid them to get vaccines. The Amish are generally less likely to be vaccinated for preventable disease, such as measles and whooping cough. Though vaccine acceptance varies by church district, the Amish often rely on family tradition and advice from church leaders, and a core part of their Christian faith is accepting God's will in times of illness or death. Many think they don't need the COVID-19 vaccine now because they've already gotten sick and believe that their communities have reached herd immunity. And that's according to the healthcare providers in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Indiana. home to nearly two-thirds of the estimated 345,000 Amish in the U.S. Experts say the low vaccination rates are a reflection of both the nature of the Amish and the general vaccine hesitancy found in many
Millennium
rural
TV,
parts of the
bridging
country.
communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Back to Millennium TV 24. I am Kim Seabrook, and today I didn't get to introduce you prior to the break, but I do have a special guest. Her name is Kiora Johnson, and her company is God's Blessings Plan. That's a nonprofit organization that's focused on community development to those most vulnerable in the community. Hey, Ms. Johnson, hi.
Hello, nice to be here.
Nice to have you. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you.
I appreciate the invite.
Yes, so I was giving your information to us by a lovely lady, and I just wanted to touch base on what your mission is to express love and compassion. You provide food and clothing and services to homeless, domestic violence, people who are in domestic violence situations. But give us a little bit more feedback on what God's Blessings Plan is and who you are.
Absolutely. So, first off, my name is Kiora Johnson, right? And I have been a finance person by trade, and I ended up founding God's Blessings Plan about 3 years ago at this point, and it was a call from God, right? I can't explain it any other way. So our mission is to provide love and compassion to all of the people we meet. So that's the most important thing that we do, and the thing that I think is of most value. How do we do that? We give clothes, as you mentioned, right? Clothes, shoes, toiletries, right? So your soap and hand sanitizer and deodorant. We also give feminine hygiene products and diapers and wipes and pretty much anything that you would need as a base, we provide. So one of the things that was such a huge motivating force for me, and like I said, it's a calling, right? I left my six-figure job in my finance world, and
thank you. I'm glad you're discussing this, because I was going to bring that up. Yes, please tell us. Go ahead.
so yes, I left this wonderful six-figure job, and as of November of 2018, I left that job and I started doing this full time for the glorious salary of zero. So,
right.
As you can tell, I had a lot of family members think that I was crazy, but my husband was supportive though. So, so it was kind of everything that led up to that point was literally, given straight from God. I was on bed rest and maternity leave with my son, and I hadn't been to work in about 6 or 7 months combined. So when I got back on the train, to get back to work, I see all of these homeless people, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm more sensitive to it now since I've been out so long, or if it's the fact that the population just, exploded while I was out, right? So I remember the thing that changed my life, literally, was I was going through the breezeway, getting to work, and there was a homeless man that I had seen plenty of times before. I didn't want to give him money. I wanted to help, but I was like, I don't want to give money. I don't want to possibly, help him destroy himself if he has
habit.
Bad habits. Exactly. So I go and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So I'm walking through the breezeway, and this gentleman is sitting on the floor, and he had a sandwich, and he's breaking pieces off of the sandwich and feeding it to the pigeons. Right? So there's all these pigeons around him. And I felt like God said, this man is sharing what little he has, and you can't even look him in the eye. And I was like, wow, God, you're going to hit me. You're going to hit me there, God?
Yeah, because he just hit me. I got goosebumps from that comment, right?
So I was like, well, I don't know what to do. And I felt like God was like, don't forget the blessing bags, which would have, at that point in time, it was, like I said, deodorant and soap. We put some like granola bars in there, a $15 gift card to McDonald's. So we did all of those things, a scarf and hat and all of that, because it was in November. And I went to give that stuff out. And I remember it was in November because I was like, oh, good, because now I can do this before Thanksgiving and get all this stuff out. This would be great. And I ordered everything. I hand wrote, everything into the gift cards. And then God was like, yeah, no, I don't want you giving that out now. You're going to give it out January 2nd because everybody cares right now. January 2nd, nobody cares. Right? And
so,
I was like,
oh gosh,
50 blessings bags in my living room, Lord. I need to get these things out. So, it ended up where we gave them out going forward. After January 2nd, I was obedient. and yeah, so we've exploded since then. So we started with 50, and as of today, we have actually helped more people than we did for the entire year last year. So now we're at about 3,000 people that we've already helped. Versus the 2,600 from last year. So we are on huge pace.
Nice. Where are the areas that you cover?
So we cover all of the 5 boroughs, as well as Long Island, Suffolk, and Nassau County.
Nice.
So that is, we've gone to the Bronx, we've gone to Brooklyn, Queens. I think the only place that I haven't been is Staten Island. I think that's one of the only spots I haven't been, but we've kind of been all over the place.
Nice. So let me ask you, what? Because I want to elaborate on this, because as you mentioned, something hit you for you to quit your job, which was 6 figures, then you go and work for nothing, but you have a husband who was able to support you. How do you inspire someone who may not have that support, but still has a passion, has a purpose, and is tired of sitting in that cubicle, or now, even working from home, or just tired of working for someone when they know that there's something deeper and bigger out there and more meaningful?
Absolutely. Start small. Start. That's the biggest thing. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with 1 step, right? So you have to just go out and do something small. So, for example, when I first started doing this, like I said, with the 50 blessings bags, from November of 2017 until November of 2018, I worked and I did God's Blessings Plan part-time. So it's a lot of work, but for something that is your calling, it won't feel like work. And I know that sounds so cliche. Whenever I heard it before, I'm like, yeah, no, it's work. It's not gonna feel like
it is work, but the satisfaction you get from it makes it feel so much better.
Exactly. And two things. Don't doubt yourself. You will doubt yourself, but know that that's part of the process. right? You're not the only one that's doubting themselves. You know, people that have been doing this for years and years and years, you know, beforehand, you know, they doubt themselves. So don't be afraid of that. And in the same token, don't be afraid of fear, right? So one of the things that I feel like I got from God was I was really nervous, and I'm like, God, I don't know if I'm the right person. I don't have all the skills for this. I don't know how to make flyers I have no idea what to do. And I got an image of like a 2-year-old that's holding on to their mother's leg and like is screaming and crying because they don't want to go somewhere and kind of has their face, you know, in the mother's like calf, right?
Yes, I was that child.
Like, yeah, right. And it's like, do it scared. It's fine, right? Because if mommy takes a step forward, you know, the child's gonna take a step forward too, even though they're terrified, right? Just fine. If you gotta bury your head in the calf, that's fine. Just keep going.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you said you was working at finances, and you do quite a few services with your organization. I believe Financial Clarity is one of them. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So explain that.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I said go ahead. You want?
We are working on putting together a financial literacy program. So the program will cover how to budget, credit cards, understanding a little bit of the fact that you're going to get taxed, right? So this is for teenagers to young adults, right? So I know for sure when I first got my first paycheck, I was like, yes, I should get, you know, $150. And then I'm looking at it, it's like, you know, 120. I was like, excuse me, where's the rest of my money?
Right.
So explaining that to them, how to open a bank account and all of those kind of things, stuff that's just basic. The only way that as Black and brown people, and people in general, but especially Black and brown people, the only way to get wealth is to understand money. And a lot of people, they don't understand money. They make it and then they spend it, right? But there's a strategy behind it that's going to allow you to build wealth for yourself and for your family going forward, right? Exactly. And be able to have a safety net in case, you know, something, in case life happens, right?
Right, life, that's it, exactly.
Exactly, so that's the...
Basically, you're teaching the stuff that we need to have learned in school before graduating and moving on to the next steps of life.
Absolutely.
What other services do you provide?
We've done, our last event was Juneteenth. So that is, it's actually also my birthday.
Oh,
so
okay.
I celebrated that very nicely, but I celebrated it serving. Because I feel like there's no better way to do that, right? So at that point in time, we gave out warm food, you know, hot food to the Boricuen Plaza in Brooklyn. So we went there, we gave hot food, we gave toiletries, socks, hand sanitizers, there were donuts that came with it. We gave out like 500 bagels, and it was like 300 hot meals that we gave. So essentially what we're trying to do is, it changes, everything that we do, it changes depending on the need of the community. So if we go into a space and we're seeing, for example, in Brooklyn, at the event that we did in Brooklyn, I'm seeing that our seniors are spending most of their money on housing. So they don't have much money left over for food, right? So now I'm in the middle of saying, okay, well, I have to get some fundraising going. Let me do what I need to do to be able to bring them like a mobile food pantry, so they can have the fresh fruits, they can have fresh, you know, vegetables and all of this kind of thing, because we can't have our seniors, you know, out here and not being able to eat.
Right.
You know, they raised us, they've watched over us, and we need to watch over them, right? So, you know, it depends on the needs, right? Sometimes we'll go into a community and we're giving diapers and wipes.
Nice. Okay.
You know, it depends on
which makes sense. Depends on what is needed. Right. Absolutely. So, Kiora, how many people are in your organization?
So Right now, it's all volunteer, right?
Okay.
So every dollar that comes in goes straight to programming. So there's no administrative salary costs.
Mm-hmm.
So the core people are myself and my husband.
Okay.
We've got a board of 6 people, and then everybody that comes out for volunteering, which we are always taking volunteers, and I'm always looking for them. They are, all volunteer. They come in. Sometimes we partner with other nonprofit organizations, and they'll come and volunteer with us. And we like to do a lot of collaboration in the community, just to have a bigger impact. Right? Nobody can do everything.
Awesome, awesome. Well, time is almost running out, so let them know how they can volunteer, how they can donate, because I'm sure you can use anything, whether it's material or financials. I'm sure that helps, right? Mm-hmm. Let them know how,
yes, absolutely.
how we can help you.
So you can go to our website, which is godsblessingsplan.org. So GODSBLESSINGSPLAN.org. So you can donate there. You can sign up to volunteer there as well. I also have another company called Living Water Health, which sells cleaning supplies and PPE and all janitorial supplies. Mm-hmm. And we take 10% of all of our profit from that organization and funnel that back into God's Blessings Plan as well. So even if you need cleaning products, you'll still be donating to God's Blessings Plan on that.
Awesome, awesome. So I know when we first spoke, you mentioned God, and yes, God is amazing. God is within us, and we can't do it without God and, the energy. Mm-hmm. But I want you to give yourself the credit, because you've been putting in the work and you've been going out there. People can say, oh, I need a job, but don't look for it, and pray all you want. But if you don't put in the work, then it's not going to happen. So I just want to give you your flowers and tell you thank you for putting in the work, and give yourself a pat on the back, because you deserve it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Kiora, we got to go into another commercial break. Time is up, but we will definitely be in touch, and I'll make sure to let everybody know how to reach you and help you again, okay?
Great. Thank you.
You're
welcome. Being on.
My pleasure. Have a great day. We'll be right back on Millennium TV. I am Kim Seabrook. I'm going to a break.
So can I leave?
Yeah.
Or do you want me to?
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Millennium TV 24, and I want to go back into finishing my first story about the Amish who were refusing vaccinations, etc. So let's go back into that segment. But I'm sorry, I do want to thank Kiora Johnson for tuning in with us, sitting with us, and chatting with us about her organization, God's Blessings Plan. And again, let's go back into the news. So, because many Amish work and shop Alongside their neighbors and hire them as drivers, they hear the skepticism about the vaccinations. They worry about the side effects and the misinformation that is surrounding the vaccine from the English or non-Amish world around them, even though they shun most modern conveniences. They're not getting that from the media because they're not watching TV or reading it on the internet, which is, I know I'm talking on TV, but that's a great thing. They're getting it from their English neighbors, said Donald Craybill, a leading expert on the Amish. He says, in many ways, they are simply reflecting rural America and the same attitudes. I give it up to them. But next we have Make-A-Wish clarifies policy after confusion on vaccinations. The Make-A-Wish Foundation is disputing what is called a misinformation campaign about whether children who aren't vaccinated against COVID-19 will be eligible to have their wishes granted. The foundation says that these children are in fact still eligible. An edited video of Make-A-Wish Foundation CEO Richard Davis that went viral on social media over the weekend caused a stir by seeming to suggest that only vaccinated children would be eligible to have wishes granted. Stars like actor Rob Schneider and numerous donors declared that if the foundation had decided not to grant wishes to unvaccinated children, that they will no longer support it. The confusion arose from the fact that the video clip that went viral cuts off before David had finished his explanation in the 2-minute, 22-second video about which children would be eligible. The outbreak of COVID-19 led Make-A-Wish Foundation to postpone granting some wishes for all children, whether vaccinated or not, that might put them at risk. The video emailed on June 9th was meant to inform families of Make-A-Wish children and foundation volunteers that certain types of wishes, including those involving air travel or large crowds, would resume being granted again in September, and that the planning to fulfill them could begin. But certain wishes for unvaccinated children that are currently deemed to be risky will continue to be on hold until medical guidance changes. We respect everyone's freedom of choice, Davis says in the full video, in which he also acknowledges that some children may be too young or too ill to be vaccinated. We can't wait until September 15th when we can expand the type of life-changing wishes that we can grant. The foundation said it had expected some backlash about its decision to delay granting wishes for some Make-A-Wish children. But it made that choice because it focused on listening to medical experts and doing what was right and in the best interest of health and safety for all of our Wish families. Since the beginning of the pandemic, the foundation has granted over 6,500 wishes to children and their families, regardless of vaccination status. So they just want to make that clear. Next, the impact of Chauvin case on policing yet to be seen. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin's conviction and lengthy prison sentence in George Floyd's murder could lead to better police hiring and training. Law enforcement experts say it could spur more effort to build trust among officers and communities. And it might have made the public and future jurors more receptive to long-standing complaints about police interactions with minorities. Even so, the case was so unreal from bystander video of Chauvin kneeling on Floyd's neck for 9.5 minutes to police department brass testifying against him that it's difficult to say it was a watershed moment for lasting change. The outcome in Chauvin's case, including his 22.5-year sentence, doesn't address deep-rooted issues of race and violence affecting police interactions with minorities that don't result in charges or convictions against officers, said Betty, who has been involved in numerous use of force lawsuits against the Chicago Police Department. And until we can get at that, I caution anyone to celebrate the conviction and sentence as a victory, she said. Officers accused of brutality or other misconduct against Black people rarely go to trial. And among those who have, the list of acquittals and mistrials is longer than the list of sentencings after conviction. That includes acquittals in recent years of officers tried in the deaths of Philando Castile in suburban Minneapolis and Tevis Crutcher in Tulsa, Oklahoma. 11 non-federal law officers, including Chauvin, have been convicted of murder for on-duty deaths since 2005. Of those, the 9 who were sentenced before Chauvin received sentences ranging from 6 years, 9 months to life behind bars, with the median being 15 years. And that was by the professor at Bowling Green State University. They also state that Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison said Friday that the outcome was a step toward accountability, even if not total justice. And he urged federal, state, and local lawmakers to pass laws to improve policing, saying Chauvin's sentence was by itself not enough. And next, the gas prices rise again. No sign of letting up this summer. After a brief dip, gas prices in the U.S. are on the rise again. The U.S. average price for a gallon of gasoline rose 2.5 cents from last week to $3.09 per gallon on Monday, and that's according to the travel and fuel price tracking app GasBuddy. The national average is now almost 5 cents higher than a month ago and 92 cents higher than this time last year. GasBuddy petroleum analyst Patrick D. Hahn says Americans should expect to pay even more at the pump heading into 4th of July, which is a popular road trip holiday. With the U.S. economy rapidly recovering from the 15-month-long coronavirus pandemic, demand for fuel is rising and pushing prices to levels not seen since 2014. And hurricane season always carries the prospect of higher prices if a storm impacts oil drilling and refining on the Gulf Coast. Motorists should prepare to dig deeper for the second half of the summer, unfortunately. But this month, the Energy Information Administration predicted gasoline would average $2.92 a gallon for the April to September summer driving season, up from $2.07 a gallon for the same period last year. For the full year, the EIA estimates regular gasoline will average $2.77 a gallon, and U.S. households will spend $570 more on fuel than they did a year ago. For consumers, higher gasoline prices are one element of an inflationary mix that they've encountered as the economy recovers from the pandemic. Rising prices for commodities and materials have also boosted prices for such items as lumber, diapers, and meat and poultry. Things are going up. Things are definitely going up. Next, we have Juul to pay $40 million in North Carolina teen vaping suit settlement. Electronic cigarette giant Juul Labs, Inc. will pay $40 million to North Carolina and take more action to prevent underage use and sales, according to a landmark legal settlement that was announced on Monday after years of accusations that the company had fueled an explosion in teen vaping. A state judge accepted the first of its kind agreement with a state. North Carolina Attorney General Josh Stein had sued Juul, accusing it of employing unfair and deceptive practices that targeted young people to use its vaping products, which deliver addictive nicotine. The lawsuit had been scheduled for trial next month. As part of the agreement, Juul will not advertise to anyone under 21 in North Carolina, including through social media, and will limit sales amounts of Juul products online to any state residents. It will also sell its products only behind counters at retailers that have ID scanners to ensure customers are of age. Teen use of e-cigarettes skyrocketed more than 70% after Juul's launch in 2015, leading the U.S. FDA to declare an epidemic of underage vaping amongst teenagers. Health experts said that the unprecedented increased risk hooking a generation of young people on nicotine, an addictive chemical that is harmful to developing brain. This settlement is consistent with our ongoing effort to reset our company and its relationship with our stakeholders as we continue to combat underage usage and advance the opportunity for harm reduction for adult smokers. Juul said in a statement after the court hearing, "We seek to continue to earn trust through action." Several states have filed their own lawsuits against Juul. A group of 39 state attorney generals have been cooperatively investigating the company's marketing and products since February of 2020. Jewel also faces hundreds of personal injury lawsuits from customers and families of young people who said they were hurt or addicted by the company's products. Those have been consolidated in a California federal case, and we will continue to see what's going on with that. Next in sports, the gritty Clippers stave off elimination. They beat the Suns 116-102. Paul George had just wrapped up his brilliant night, scoring 41 points to keep the Los Angeles Clippers season alive. He shared some hugs and some fist bumps with his teammates and assistant coaches before he finally got to head coach Tyronn Lue. There were some words of encouragement, words we can't say, but they were also apparently too hot for TV. George set his playoff career high in scoring. Reggie Jackson added 23 points, and the feisty Clippers staved off elimination by beating the Phoenix Suns 116-102 on Monday night in Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals. But next, we have Venus Williams, also in sports, earns 90th Wimbledon victory. Venus Williams has won a match at Wimbledon for the 90th time. She's also beat the rain. The 41-year-old Williams advanced to the second round by defeating Mihaela Berzanascu 7-5, 4-6, 6-3. The match ended moments before a light shower forced an interruption in play on some of the courts at the All England Club. Williams is playing at Wimbledon for the 23rd time. She has won the grass court tournament 5 times, most recently in 2008. She is now ranked 111th, and the victory was her first since she won one match at the Australian Open. Williams saved 5 break points in the first sets as she pulled ahead. When she closed out the victory, she shouted, "Come on," and celebrated. Williams overcame 8 double faults and erased 13 of the 15 break points that she faced. And last but not least, I want to give you some information on how to keep cool in this weather, okay? Because it's very, very important. A lot of times you guys are drinking soda and putting all that sugar in your body, and there's other ways that we can do. Let's go. So, keeping cool when temperatures reach record high isn't just about comfort, because dangerously high temperatures can result in heat-related illnesses, ranging from heat cramps to heat exhaustion and even heat stroke. The following tips can help you keep cool all summer long. So alter your pattern or outdoor exercise to take advantage of cooler times. Yes, so instead of going at 12 o'clock in the afternoon to go outside to work out, go 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock, before the sun really hits, or late in the evening. And if you can't change your time of workout, scale it down by doing fewer minutes, walking instead of running, or decreasing your level of exertion. 2, wear loose-fitting clothing, preferably of a light color. Cotton clothing will keep you cool more than any synthetics. Fill a spray bottle with water. Keep it in the refrigerator for a quick, refreshing spray to your face after being outdoors. Fans can also help circulate the air and make you feel cooler, even in an air-conditioned house. Try storing some lotions or cosmetic toners in the refrigerator to use on the hot, overtired feet. That's a good one. Keep plastic bottles of water in the freezer. Always have a cup of ice. I always have my cup of ice. Keep your ice on you. Grab one when you're ready to go outside. And even as the ice melts, you'll have a supply of cold water with you. Next, take frequent baths or showers, please, with cool or tepid water. Combat dehydration by drinking plenty of water along with sports drinks or other sources of electrolytes. No soda, no soda, no soda. What else? We also want to make sure you eat leafy greens and a lot of melons and fruits. Watermelons, definitely good for you. Cantaloupe is good for you. Get some strawberries, things of that nature. Fruits, please, and green salads. They are easy to digest and are more than 90% water, besides being good for you. So again, cool salads, and if you eat meats, cold cuts and cheeses are the way to go. That's if you do, and make sure that no salt, no salt. And periodically eating very cold things like ice cream, though temporarily refreshing, causes your body to increase its internal temperature to compensate for what it detects as a sudden cooling. But fat and protein also cause warming during digestion. So also, though a cold beer feels cooling, alcohol is a diuretic and can dehydrate you. So if you consume it too much, you're definitely going to feel it. To a lesser degree, the same goes for coffee and tea. Although frequent sips of hot tea can induce sweating, which is the body's natural way to keep cool via evaporation. Some people also swear by small portable battery-powered fans. And even at an outdoor event, there's a version that we've seen that attaches to a water bottle that actually sprays a cooling mist. So if you're wearing a cap, you could put some ice cold water, put the cap on your head, then quickly invert it and like I said, place it on your head. And if you don't have air conditioning, make sure you go somewhere that is cool, the shopping mall. Like I told you, there's cooling centers, going to a movie theater, or any other public space that has air conditioning. Many cities are available. As I mentioned, you can dial 311 to find out where they are located. But the most thing is make sure that you finally use the common sense. If the heat is intolerable, stay indoors when you can and avoid activities in the sun. Pay special attention, please, to the elderly and the infants and anyone with chronic illnesses, as they may dehydrate easily and be more susceptible to heat-related illnesses. And please don't forget your pets. The pets also need protection from dehydration and heat-related illnesses too. So keep them indoors as much as possible. I am Kim Seabrook. I appreciate you for taking a good look in the news with me today. Make sure to watch us on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon. Download the app on your Android and your Apple phones and everything. Smart TVs, we're everywhere. We appreciate you. See you next time.